What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cinema Trip Reviews. I am Wyatt, and today in the show, we'll be talking about Companion. If you haven't already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Cinema Trip Reviews. Also, drop in and leave us a good review wherever you get your podcast. It really helps us get the show out there to a lot more people, and I really appreciate it. So, day has come. I am finally talking about Companion. For those who have followed the channel for a while, who knows I've been talking about this movie even before it even released. I've been talking about it for quite a while now. It released at the end of January, just coming out in time for Valentine's Day and everything. It's a good, date movie to take your significant other to and all that. And I really love the marketing around it and everything, how it kind of made it look like kind of like a rom-com type of movie, like especially in that first initial trailer up until the very end of the trailer where you see like Sophie Thatcher's arm on fire and Jack Quaid sitting across from her and everything. But that's really what piqued my interest because there was like from the producers or whatever, The Notebook, and it was like all these pink graphics and everything, and it made it look like a rom-com. Now the marketing did take kind of a turn about halfway through before the movie was released, because there is quite a big twist with this movie and with the story and everything, and they didn't reveal that through the original trailer and some of the original marketing and posters for the movie. And then about maybe like I would say a month or a month and a half before the release of the movie, that's when they really started like utilizing the big twist in the marketing, like as far as the poster, as far as the second and other trailers they were released. It really shows the big twist right in the trailer for everybody to see. And that's really what kind of bothered me, because if you go into this movie not knowing about that twist, it makes it so much better. Now, me and my fiance ended up watching this movie together, and she wasn't aware of the twist whatsoever. So I think she was pleasantly surprised when it gets to that point in the movie where you find out what's going on. And then from there on out, it's just, a crazy ride up until the very end. Now, for those who haven't seen too much of the movie, I definitely recommend you go watch the movie without knowing anything at all. That's probably the best bet. I know you can say that about most movies, but specifically with this movie, the twist, it really helps if you don't know going into it, because I already knew about it. So the whole first, 20, 30 minutes of the movie, I'm just kind of waiting until they reveal exactly what's happening. And they did a good job of kind of sprinkling the clues about the twist through like the first 20 to 30 minutes, which is weird because like you insert all these clues to kind of make people guess and people kind of understand like something's weird about this situation, but yet they reveal everything in the marketing up until release. So it's weird they even try to hide it at all in the first half of the movie or so when they blatantly give it all away in the marketing and trailers and such. It was just kind of a weird, it was just weird decision making by the marketing team, and I think it was New Line that made it. It was just a very weird decision. Now, for those who haven't seen the movie or don't really know anything at all, I am going to kind of talk about spoilers. I mean, this movie's been out for a couple months now. I am going to be talking about spoilers, talk about the story a little bit. So if you don't want to know anything, definitely go watch the movie and then come back and watch this review. Otherwise, if you don't care, I'm going to get into it. For the people that kind of had this movie on their radar for a while, I am sure you know about this twist. It's incorporated in the main poster of the movie, and it's throughout the main trailers, like I mentioned. But Sophie Thatcher's character in the movie of Iris is a robot. She's like an emotional support companion slash sex doll, or if you want to be crass, like a fuck toy or a fuck doll. She's just much more than that, as Jack Quaid says in the movie. She's much more than a fuck doll. But I mean, to be honest, she really is. I mean, she is a robot that is specifically designed to pair with the person that's either buying her or renting her, and then that is pretty much their companion. They are there to kind of serve them and make that person happy, throughout however long they have this doll for, whether they're keeping it as their personal significant other for life, which you see like one of the people in the movie ends up kind of doing that. Or you kind of have them if you're feeling depressed or if you're in a down state, you have your emotional companion robot to kind of help you out through everything, and up until maybe you finally meet a real person. She's extremely lifelike and everything. She's pretty much like the kind of the idyllic perfect girlfriend, I guess you would say. But I mean, you also have male versions of it as well, so it's kind of the perfect significant other for whoever's renting or buying this thing. And I mean, I already kind of talked about it, but I mean, that kind of twist or surprise, it would have worked so much better if you didn't reveal it in any of the marketing. I mean, just like, imagine going to see Barbarian with knowing that twist. It wouldn't have been nearly as effective with Barbarian. And to me, I think it definitely kind of sullies this movie in a way because they gave away that huge twist. Because just watching with my fiance when they reveal that she is a robot, she's like, "Oh my gosh, that kind of makes sense." Like it kind of blew her mind in a way. And I was like, I really wish everybody could have had that experience. But I mean, you even have the main poster of the movie is Sophie Thatcher with her eyes like rolled back and they're all white and it looks like the robot or like the androids from like Wayland Mutani and shit. And they also talk about it in the trailer of her being like a fuck bot and a sex robot and such. So it's like I don't know. I just wish they would have really kept that under wraps. Now, maybe it would have been hard to conceal that type of twist because the whole movie revolves around that sort of thing. So I understand maybe with the teaser trailer is, you know, they didn't give away any of that sort of thing. But when you release a full length trailer, like 2.5 minutes, and you want to incorporate a lot of them because that's really how trailers are nowadays. I've complained about it before on the channel. They do like a teaser trailer which gives you the perfect amount of information, and then the main trailer, it gives you like 2.5 minutes and it shows you damn near the whole movie. And that's why I've been trying not to watch a lot of the main trailers that come out. And when you see me do trailer reactions, I normally do trailer reactions for like the first initial teaser or first official trailer, and they're normally not too long and don't give away too much. And that was really the main part of this. But with a twist like this and a story that revolves a twist like this, you think they would have tried to hide that as much as possible, which wasn't the case. Now, the movie was directed by Drew Hancock. I haven't really seen really anything that he's done. He's been doing a lot of TV work throughout his career, writing for a lot of TV shows, directing a lot of TV stuff. I believe this is his first like feature film and everything. Which it's not a bad movie to come out with on your first attempt as far as like movies go. I actually really enjoyed this movie. There was a reason I was looking forward to it, even knowing the twist. And I wasn't disappointed by the end of it. You know, I think it was quite the thrill ride throughout the whole thing. The performances in it were pretty good for the most part. I think Sophie Thatcher is, of course, she's the main character of the movie. I mean, she's like one of the rising stars, one of the hottest rising stars as of right now. Sophie Thatcher. I mean, I've reviewed Heretic with her in it. I've seen the Boogeyman that came out a couple years ago with her in it. She's in the Yellow Jackets TV show. I haven't really seen that one, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. I'm actually very interested in seeing kind of her career trajectory going forward because she's been in a lot of good stuff as of recently. Kind of on a similar wavelength, you have Jack Quaid as well. And I mean, of course, I know him, and a lot of people know him from the Boys TV show. But he's really been getting a lot of traction as far as like kind of starring in movies as of lately. And I think his career trajectory is really going to be taking off here within the next couple years. I mean, for good reason. I mean, he's very charismatic. I mean, a lot of people can give shit for being a nepo baby or whatever, but I mean, dude has a lot of charisma. He's got some talent. So I mean, I'm looking forward to see what he does in the future as well. And also, I'm a big fan of like Red Letter Media, and he's been on there a couple times as well. So I mean, Jack Quaid just seems like a cool dude. You also have Lucas Gage in the movie. I'm not really familiar with his work. I do know that he was in the Smile 2 that came out recently. I will have a review of Smile 2 eventually. I did do a review of the first one, so I need to get around to doing the second one here. You have Megan Suri, and she plays Kat in the movie. My biggest complaint is around her character because she's one of the main cast, but she probably has the least amount to do throughout the whole movie. She doesn't really do too much at all, other than kind of is the person that is jealous of Sophie Thatcher's character because she is like a companion robot. She's kind of jealous that they're making these things that can kind of take the place of a real woman and everything. So I mean, other than that, she doesn't really have too much to do in the movie, unfortunately, other than just being the bitch of the movie. She is such an unlikable character. I mean, going along with, I mean, most of the characters in the movie. I mean, Jack Quaid's character, Megan Suri's character, Kat, and of course the other main cast just are not very likable at all. And that's kind of on purpose because there is kind of a motivation behind these characters and what they're doing throughout the film. You also have Harvey Guillen, and he plays Eli in the movie. I've only seen him in the What We Do in the Shadows TV show. I'm a huge fan of the movie What We Do in the Shadows, and I actually really enjoy the show. But he plays Guillermo in the show, and he's pretty good as well. And he's really good in this movie as well. He just kind of, I haven't really seen him in too much other than just these two things. I would actually like to see him in some more stuff. You also have Rupert Friend, who in the movie plays like the Russian who owns the like getaway house that they go to and everything. So I mean, you have a good cast in here. I would say the performances are kind of hit or miss here and there. I think the best performances come from Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid because those are kind of the new two main players of the movie. I mean, Harvey is kind of is decent in the movie as well. And I think kind of one of the better actors of the movie itself was Lucas Gage. He plays Patrick in the movie, and I was actually kind of pretty surprised on kind of the bigger role that he plays within the film itself. Now, kind of a little basic plot rundown. You have Sophie Thatcher's character of Iris in the movie. She dates Josh, played by Jack Quaid. They are offered to go on a kind of a weekend getaway with their friends to this place that is owned by the Russian, who is played by Rupert Friend. The whole time that you're kind of getting to know these characters and have on that car ride, and then you get to the place they're going to, like as far as getting to know Josh and Iris, there is kind of a weird dynamic. You have the feeling that Josh is just not that great of a boyfriend. He's just kind of doesn't seem to care much about Iris here and there. He's just kind of a dickhead here and there. But you just have this weird dynamic through the first like 20, 30 minutes where you just have that feeling just something is off. And of course, I've already mentioned this numerous times, but if you know the twist, it kind of sullies that first 20, 30 minutes because you already know what's the twist is. You already know what's going to happen. The movie kind of takes off from there, but that whole first 20, 30 minutes is building and building up to that big twist that she's actually a robot. And like I mentioned, they throw so many different clues here and there, just certain things that people says kind of alludes to, the twists and everything. So it's they try so hard to hide it. So it's just so odd that they give it away in all the marketing. But I mean, if you go into it blind, I think it does work. And I think you could possibly guess what the twist is before it even happens. The big jumping off point comes whenever Iris ends up being alone with the Russian and one of the mornings, and they're out there looking at the view, and he ends up trying to take advantage of her, and she ends up murdering the shit out of him by stabbing him in the throat with a pocket knife and everything. And that's really what kicks off, because this has been part of the plan the whole time. This whole group of friends, they know about her being a robot. Patrick is even a robot. So you have two different robots, two companions within this movie. Patrick is the companion of Eli, Harvey's character in the movie, but they specifically want to use Iris, Sophie Thatcher's character. The whole plan was for her to kill the Russian from, the get-go, because apparently he's a bad guy. Kat's been with him for a while. He's a terrible boyfriend. He's a terrible husband to his wife, apparently, because he's married to some other lady you don't get to see in the movie. Also, certain assumptions that he's a dirty character that's involved with like the mob and stuff like that. But the group of friends find out that he has this like safe full of millions of dollars, and the plan is to have Iris end up killing him. They're going to steal the cash. Iris is going to end up taking the fall, or just being sent back to the company that owns the robots as like a defect and everything. And then these people are going to get away with all these millions of dollars and such. But of course, this is a movie. It's not going to turn out exactly as they hope. So the plan goes smoothly somewhat at first. She ends up killing the Russian, and they end up tying her up, and he ends up even trying to convince her, yeah, you are a robot. You're not a real person. But it's such a great scene because he's like kind of trying to convince her that she's a robot. She doesn't want to believe it, and she slowly starts to believe it as he's giving her the evidence. And like one of the examples is he asks her like what the weather is, and she immediately snaps into like the kind of the AI voice of just like, the weather today is 89 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's like, this is the time too. It's like, and it's just really fascinating. And then so of course, because this type of movie, she ends up breaking out, ends up getting a hold of his phone and running away. And because you find out that Jack Quaid ended up jailbreaking his sex robot, or his own companion, so she's already free from kind of the constraints that the original company had her in. She uses his phone because he can control her with his phone, and she ends up going in, raising the intelligence of herself all the way to 100%. She maxes out all of her stats and everything. So she is like super smart, trying to get away from these people at this point in time. She just wants to get away and be free. Cause she kind of since she raises her intelligence up to 100, like she kind of has her own free will now. And she can also take away the voice commands, so he can't control her and everything. And it's super fascinating because she's starting to utilize these new abilities to kind of get away from these people or to kill some of these people. It's very fascinating. I really think the movie was kind of cleverly written with the certain things that she is capable of doing, and a certain ways that she's able to kind of make herself smarter, make herself do these things by controlling on his phone, like switching the languages. She could speak different languages and everything to confuse certain people. At some point, she ends up running into a cop, and she ends up switching her language to like German and such. And I think those are just like really interesting and cool ways to kind of incorporate using a robot as like one of your main characters, you know, and kind of getting back at these other characters. But most of the movie, once you find out that she is that robot, is pretty much like a cat and mouse game, going back and forth of them trying to hunt her down. And that's kind of maybe one of my issues with the movie, is because like you kind of run that circle of her like getting away. Oh, she gets captured. Oh, she gets away. She gets captured. And it just happens a couple, like three different times. And I just feel like they could have maybe found something different to do here and there, other than just have her run away and get captured, run away and get captured and stuff. But I think even though you're kind of running into that same circle over and over and over again, you are finding out new information. Other people do end up getting killed. You do have some certain other twists in here at hand. So, I mean, at one point in the movie, Harvey's character Eli ends up getting killed, and because Iris is, out running around, Josh ends up pairing himself with Patrick, Eli's robot, to kind of have him go out and hunt her down for him. And he raises all of his stats, and he ends up pretty much being more dangerous than Iris at that point. He's just out here killing people willy-nilly. And I think that was a pretty interesting aspect of the movie too, is you have another robot hunting down a robot. And I mean, it also culminates up into the final confrontation between Josh and Iris towards the end of the movie. And I think it was pretty well done. I think it was smartly written. You have some clever lines between Josh and Iris. And of course, Josh being like kind of the owner or controller of her, and Patrick, I guess at this point, he thinks he has the upper hand. He thinks he's smarter than her. He thinks he has everything figured out. But of course, you find out that none of these people have anything figured out. They just had the base level plan of what they wanted to do. And then, of course, it all goes to shit. Even after he thinks he ends up like killing Iris, and the people come to kind of take her away, they're like, yeah, well, don't worry about it, these things happen, we'll take her back, we'll hook her up, we'll go through all the audio and visual stuff, and we'll have a claim, or we'll contact you at that point. And he's like, wait a minute, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, she has built-in cameras and microphones. We record everything that happens with these robots and such. So it's like that pretty much throws his plan completely out the window. And that's actually one of the funniest scenes in the movie, is with those repair guys, because they give the impression that like they don't really know what's going on, that they're naive to everything. And then as soon as they leave the house, they're like, oh yeah, this guy definitely modded this robot. He is so fucked. And it's like, it's just so funny. And that's another thing I really like about the movie, is the humor that is kind of spaced throughout the whole thing. It does get pretty funny at certain moments, but it also has some kind of serious moments at certain times. I'm not saying there's like really like any heavy scenes or anything like that, but I think it does a good job of balancing kind of the funny and seriousness of the movie as well, and knowing exactly what kind of tone it should have for being a robot movie, kind of like a sci-fi type thriller movie and everything, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. And I think that's really what works with the movie at the end of the day. The music cues in it are pretty good at certain times. The quick cutaways are some of the funniest aspects of the movie, because they're mentioning something, then it kind of cuts to a flashback, or one of the memories that the robots has or anything. And those are pretty funny scenes as well. One of the other things that like I by the end of it, I thought about it and I was like, it kind of didn't work for me, was they have Sophie Thatcher's character of Iris repeat kind of the same lines at the bookends of the movie, at the very beginning and the very end. And of course, I'm going to be paraphrasing this because I don't remember the exact lines, because I only seen the movie one time. But she's talking about kind of like the best days of her life. And there's like the two best days of her life is like the one day, the first is whenever she met Josh, and the second is whenever she killed him. And they put those lines at the bookends of the movie, the very beginning and the very end. So right at the beginning of the movie, before you even get to meet any of these characters, you already know that she ends up killing him by the end of the movie. And I mean, I have seen movies where they do that, but I mean, with the twist that's been revealed in the poster and the trailer of her being a robot, and then you add on this where you kind of give away that she ends up killing Josh at the very beginning of the movie, he's going to be dead by the end of it. I feel like that would have worked better as a surprise as well. You don't know what's going to happen by the end. I don't know. It's just so weird that they give away so much, like at the very beginning of the movie and in the trailers and everything. When this is a movie, I think that would have been so much better not knowing anything about it going in. It would have been awesome to not have any of that revealed. But yeah, by the end of the movie, of course, everybody is dead. Sophie Thatcher's character Iris is the only one still alive, and she is now free. She has been freed from her constraints, because the people that came with the company to try to take her away. They wiped everything out of her database, so she is pretty much a free woman now. Nobody's able to control her. She is a free robot. So she takes a convertible out of the Russian's garage and ends up driving away onto freedom. And the whole time I was just thinking at the end of the movie was just like the Lucille Bluth from Arrested Development, just like, good for her. Like that whole meme is just like, good for her. I'm glad everything turned out nice for her, because I feel like a lot of these robot type movies, they end up getting shut down or killed by the end of the thing. But I mean, with all the bullshit she has to overcome throughout not just this movie, but her relationship with Josh, at the end of it, I was just like, good for her. I'm glad she was able to kind of have a happy ending. And man, the after credits too was great, with her just driving down the road and she pulls up beside this car and looks over, and it's just a guy in the driver's seat, and his girlfriend that's in the passenger seat is just another like model of her. It's Sophie Thatcher, just with like a blonde wig on and everything. So he has a companion. And it's just great because she just starts laughing about it immediately and just drives away, and that's the end of the movie. It's just like that type of sense of humor about it. I don't know. I really liked the funny aspects of the movie. Like I mentioned, there's certain things here and there I didn't like, but I think it was a very well crafted movie. I think it was paced very well, and especially for like a movie directorial debut for this director, I think it was a pretty good one. I think he knocked it out of the park with this. I mean, he spent years and years working on TV and writing for TV and such, so he was kind of building up to this, and I think it worked. I'm interested in seeing what he does next as well. If he's going to kind of stay in kind of like the sci-fi thriller genre, or if he's going to go on and do something else. But yeah, I think it was a really good movie, very interesting. I'm glad that I liked it because I had some hype built up around it. I was very excited to watch this one even before it dropped in theaters and everything. So I'm really glad I ended up enjoying it, and I hope everybody else enjoys it as well. Now, for those who have been following the show for a while, know exactly what time it is now. It is time to do my buy it, rent it, or miss it for companion. And this one, I'm going to say a rent it. I mean, I think this was a pretty good movie overall. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't something that really blew my socks off. It wasn't something that really blew me away, or it wasn't something like I felt the immediate need to go out and buy or like rewatch immediately. This is one I would definitely recommend for pretty much anybody that hasn't seen it as of yet. This is one I definitely highly recommend. It's a really fun time. Not knowing that twist and everything, it definitely helps out in the long run. But even if you do know the twist, I think you'll really have a good time with this movie, just like I did. But of course, that is the show for today. If you haven't already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Cinema Trip Reviews. Also, drop in and leave us a good review wherever you get your podcast. Really helps us get the show out there to a lot more people. And also, if you have seen a movie, make sure to let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Next week on the show, I have a huge episode for everybody. I had Dustin and Paul join me on the show from the Flicks and Friends podcast, and we're going to be talking all about Akira, the anime movie from 1988 or 89. I may have that wrong. That's a big episode. I'm very excited to release that for everybody. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. And I'll see everybody next time.